Are you challenging me? I'll have whatever he's having.
I'm pumped right now because I haven't checked up on this video in 10 months. And I must have deleted all the files. I had 40 minutes worth of footage. Poof! Thin air. Gone. Anywho, where do we leave off? I believe it was Bert Kreischer in the meh tier. Now, since we've been gone, I've seen some of these dudes live, so I'm gonna move some stuff around. Starting with Kyle Kane. I've seen him live. I think he's really good. Daniel Tosh. Seen him live. I think he's great. Dave Attell, saw him live. Top tier. Who else? I saw Bill Burr live. Great. John Mulaney I saw live, but he's still great. Hannibal, he's coming to town, but I still think he's in the good tier. Anyway, moving on. Richard Pryor, rest in peace. King. Fucking S tier. Top tier level comedian. Anyway. Phyllis Diller, I don't know shit about her, so I'm putting her in the back. Ooh, you already know. Robin Williams, rest in peace. What a legend. What a unit. One of the greatest comedians ever. I mean, you can't get any better than that. His physical comedy, the voices, how fast he is. I mean, he has a couple specials that are 2 hours long in front of thousands of people. You can't get any better than that. Anyway, I'm going to rearrange some of this shit, so we'll be right back. And we're back. Just like that, back in black, in the sack. I got my balls, so you know it's time to attack these comedians, just like how he attacked Will Smith at the Oscars. I've seen Chris Rock live. I've seen his brothers live as well. I'm not a huge fan. I know some people think he's amazing. Personally, I don't think he's as good as these guys in the great tier. Actually, most people would say he's better than John Mulaney, but all right, fine. I'll put him in the great tier. Whatever. I don't give a fuck. Tom Segura. Ooh, Tom Segura is pretty fucking nice. I wouldn't say he's S tier though. I'd say Tom Segura is A tier level comedian. He's fucking great, phenomenal. He's just so funny. I mean, nothing goes wrong with the old Tommy Sig. Moving on, Kevin Hart. Put him in the same tier. He's not quite top tier. If you do think he's top tier, you're either a child or The Rock. Anyway, Pete Holmes. I think this guy's hideous. I don't think he's that funny. I'm gonna put him in the meh tier. Ralphie May. Fuck. Rest in peace, Ralphie May. I'm gonna put him in the great tier. He's up there, but I just haven't seen enough of him to put him in the god tier, you know? Alright, Aziz. Not everything needs to sound like this. Fuck you, Aziz. You're a hack. Other end of the spectrum is Steve Martin. What a legend, first of all. The way he does it, you can't get any better than that. Seriously, but physical comedy, slapstick comedy, just like wackiness in general, so good. Oh, the other end of the spectrum, the demon lady herself on primetime television, also on primetime hack tier. Fuck Ellen DeGeneres. Terrible, terrible comedian. Not a fan. Jim Breuer. I'm gonna put him in good, because as much as I love him, he's not everyone's cup of tea. And overall, he's pretty good. If you haven't seen him, I definitely go recommend checking him out. But he's not everyone's cup of tea, you know what I mean? He's a little too eccentric sometimes. I can understand how some people might not find that the funniest, and just more goofy rather than hilarious. That being said, that is my style. If it was up to me, I'd put him in the great tier, but he's not on par with these guys. Also, Chris D'Elia, I saw this documentary about him being like this, like kind of like grooming pedophile thing. But I think it's important to recognize that there's a difference between the artist and the art, right? Like, yes, this person may be shitty and terrible. The art that they produce is pretty good. So, I'm not judging this based off of the individual person, because I'm sure some of these guys on the hack tier are probably really nice, except for Ellen. She's a demon. But Patton Oswalt might be like a really nice guy, but his comedy's not for me. Flip side, Chris D'Elia's comedy, just my taste. Is he a shitty person? Yeah. Will he go to hell if there is one? Probably. But he'll be in the great tier in this fucking YouTube video that he'll never see. So, Joe Rogan.
And you're going, no! And that's how you die.
I got a steaming hot take. I got a boiling hot take for you, my friend. He's good. He's not meh. He's not great. He's all right. He's good. I wouldn't put him in the same level as Jeff Ross and Tig Notaro and fucking Bert Kreischer, but yeah, I'd say he's around there with Dane Cook, Hannibal, Gabriel Iglesias, all that stuff. Now, Greg Giraldo, on the other hand, rest in peace, Greg Giraldo. He was great. He was great. I never got to see him live. Probably would have loved to, honestly. He seems like my type of comedian. But yeah, I just listened to him on the radio. Nate Bargatze, whatever the fuck. I'd say he's meh. I'd say he's on par with Rogan. Yeah, okay, yeah. Let's put him in good tier then. He's pretty good. I think he's a little too calm and clean, but some of the stuff he says is really funny. Oh, perfect. Mike Burberlia. I can't even pronounce his name, but I can see it. All I do is hear this guy on SiriusXM comedy stations, and he just is all right. I mean, like, if there's nothing else on, like no other comics I like, I'll listen to him. If it's him or anyone in this, you fucking know that I'm picking these guys over him. Ooh, and I got a steaming hot take for y'all. Sam Kinison. Shit. No, I'm kidding. I'm just joking. I'm joking. Give me that back. I'd have to say he's great. Personally, I'm not a fan of the whole yelling thing. I never really have been. After hearing how he transitioned comedy from like the Johnny Carson, just, you know, being professional and talking like this all the time, to like a more eccentric, darker version of comedy, I've heard good things about what he did for the comedy universe. And if you haven't heard of him, I highly recommend checking out Sam Kinison. He's dead now. Rest in peace. But speaking of rest in peace, Patrice O'Neal. Patrice O'Neal is by far one of my favorite comedians to ever do it. He is just the coolest ever. He's so funny. The way he can think of like some of the segues and transitions from topic to topic, especially some of the topics he talks about when it comes to men and women, like a lot of it is just a very unique way of looking at it. It's very funny. It's pretty logical too, which is crazy, because usually a lot of funny stuff, like especially guys like Steve Martin and Robin Williams or even Mitch Hedberg, a lot of their comedy is like completely illogical and rational and nonsense, which is why it's funny, just ridiculousness in general. Where Patrice comes in and is different is like just the way that he talks about it is just on point. Like it makes sense from a logic standpoint. Oh my God, we're really batting out this fucking S tier. Don Rickles. I think he's still alive. Holy shit, no. Wow. Well, rest in peace, this fucking legend, Don Rickles. I didn't know that he died a couple years back, but yeah, no, he was fucking probably one of the greatest roast comedians ever. So quick-witted, so offensive but tasteful for his time. His accent, he's been in movies, is just classic. Just Don Rickles in general is one of the greats, all-time greats. Moving on, Stephen Wright. Stephen Wright's great. I think Stephen Wright's great. He's definitely up here with these guys. I'd say these two areas are like, if they're older, legend. If they're younger, they're killing the game right now. But I think Stephen Wright is legends. My dad's met him, and he said that he's hilarious, and he's really nice. He's very introverted, but he's also very dry and funny. Like in person too. Whew, we're really banging these guys out. Okay, Eddie Murphy. I'm putting Eddie Murphy in the S tier, baby. Eddie Murphy's got to be up there. Just his old stand-up in general. Like the way he made that shift from dirty raw dog comedy to like children's movies and slapstick. It could go the other way, but I guess it didn't for him, and he's great. I haven't seen any of his recent stuff, i.e. the past like 4 or 5 years. His older stand-up, fucking phenomenal. Moving on, a man I've met myself, Godfrey. Godfrey's good. Godfrey's great, but he's not quite a legend yet. His accents alone and his impressions alone put him up there. I mean, he's funny. He's a little too political, but I don't really give a shit, to be honest.Moving on, Adam Sandler. Honest to God, I'm not a big fan. He's good, because a lot of people like him. I mean, if your whole personality is like, shut up! It's like, come on. I don't know. It was like movie, shut up. Pegging kids with dodgeballs, all this kind of shit. I mean, he did it, you know, he's one of the richest comedians alive, honestly. And I've loved his transition into serious roles like Uncut Gems but yeah. Speaking of rich comedians, Jerry Seinfeld. I'm gonna put him in the S tier, and y'all know why. Fucking Seinfeld, one of the funniest shows on television. His stand-up alone, I mean, shit. I have this book by him, which is literally all of his jokes categorized by year. You can't even see that. These are his jokes from, what, the 60s, the 70s, to the teens. Jerry's one of the legends. Sometimes I pick that up and look at it. Other times, I don't want to read anything. Anyway, moving on. Dice! Andrew Dice Clay. Hickory dickory dock. Hey, what's with the bowl, bitch? I think Dice is a top tier, S tier level comedian. Up there with these guys for sure. The way he changed his personality into the Dice Man. The Dice Man cometh. Unbelievable. Super fucking phenomenal. Next up, Ali Wong. I think she's meh only because she's a woman. No, I'm kidding. I know there might be a trend here, but I promise you it's not intentional. I just don't find her that funny. You know, it's like not my style. Maybe because, I mean, I know that some girls, like my sister, she's my sister's favorite comedian. I did really like her acting in Beef. I thought that was amazing. That came out recently. Stand-up wise, not my cup of tea. Moving on, Johnny Carson. Johnny Carson's great, but he's not a legend. That's a lie. He is a legend, but I wouldn't call his stand-up alone top tier. I mean, I love him. You know, who doesn't? He set the tone for late night TV, and everyone tried to be like him, but I just not a huge fan of his stand-up. Moving on, Zach Galifianakis. He's pretty good. I would literally say that he's on par with these guys, Adam, Hannibal, Dane Cook. Zach Galifianakis, pretty good stand-up, really funny dude. Pretty sure he could play the piano, which is cool. Anyway, moving on, Norm Macdonald. Norm Macdonald is my favorite comedian of all time, probably. Definitely top 3. You know, you just talk like this for a bit, and you kind of stumble around, and then you hit him with the punchline, and it's like something along the line of crack whore. It's great. I mean, like, rest in peace. If there was one comic I really wish I could have seen before he died, it would have been Norm. Anyway, moving on. Ron White. I haven't seen too much of Ron White, but a lot of comics speak very highly of him, so I'm going to put him in the good tier. Larry the Cable Guy. I mean, that's just, I've always felt like that's just kind of a hack. Like hacky, southern bullshit comedy, you know. Not a huge fan, to be honest, but who am I to judge? Who am I to judge? Rodney Dangerfield, my second #1 favorite comedian. Rodney Dangerfield, Norm Macdonald, Mitch Hedberg, George Carlin, Bill Hicks, Dave Chappelle, Dave Attell, Patrice O'Neal. These are the names you think of. Robin Williams, Steve Martin. These are the names you think of when you think of amazing, legendary comedians. Rodney Dangerfield is unmatched. Rest in peace. What a legend. I'll tell you. If I had that voice naturally, I would do stand-up like that all the time. But I don't, because I'm a child. Anyway, Jim Gaffigan. Jim Gaffigan to me is just kind of meh. Like, if there's no one else on the radio and I'm driving, I'm listening to comedy, yeah, I'll take it. But, like, I've never liked him. Like, I've never sought after his specials. Just not a huge fan, honestly. Could really care less about him. Sarah Silverman, honestly, I would say she's also meh. She's the same level of Jim Gaffigan. I think both of these comedians, some people would regard as really good. Not my preference. Same with Brian Regan. I'm not a fan of Brian Regan that much. It's like, oh yeah? They're both, him and Gaffigan are like that. Oh yeah? Oh, okay. My kids. Bacon. It's like, all right, we get it, man. You're America's sweetheart. You're like a safe choice to put on in front of the kids. But I'm young. And I like these offensive guys at the top. So, speaking of offensive guys, David Cross. I'm a huge fan of David Cross. I don't think he's up there with like Kinison and Godfrey. Should Godfrey even be up there? Yeah, I should move Godfrey down. David Cross, I don't think he should be up there with Geraldo, Jeselnik, and Tosh. But he's pretty good. I do really like his stuff. I think he's great. Same with Bill Maher. Actually, Bill Maher is kind of meh. A little too political for my liking, honestly. A little too political. I'm not a huge fan of political comedy. I think it's like, who gives a shit? And if you say the word Democrat or Republican in your special, it's like, we get it. All right, everyone, oh my God, the left is so silly, and the right's so mean. Who gives a shit? Tell me a dick joke. Tell me a joke about why society's dumb and not why politics is the reason why society's dumb. And like we all, that's all the same team. Doesn't matter. Bo Burnham. Bo Burnham, I think, is one of the greatest comedic minds of our time. That's why I'm putting him in the S tier. I think he is along the lines with Rodney Dangerfield and Steve Martin for sure. Absolutely, undoubtedly. What a fucking legend. Can't get over it. I love him. Oh, I would love to see him live, but those tickets must be thousands. Todd Glass. Todd Glass is pretty good. He's not great. He's pretty good. Tom Papa. I really like Tom Papa, actually. I really do. Put him in the good tier. I'd put him in a good tier as well. And the last, but certainly not least, Mark Maron. Mark Maron's also good. Todd Glass, Tom Papa, Mark Maron, all comics kind of like, yeah, okay. Oh, they're coming to town? How much is it? $120? I don't know. I think I'll pass. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Anyone you would like to see again? Anyone you'd like to add or change? Let me know. I'm going to do a list of comics I've seen in person and rate them off of like not only their comedy, but their personality. A lot of new age comics like Mark Norman, Kyle Kane, a lot of these younger guys. Some of these guys I've seen, like Bill Burr, a lot of newer guys, still alive. That was my tier list so far. Sorry if I kind of sped through it. You know, I got to go to work in like 2 hours. So thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Have a good Monday, y'all. Out.